Mitakai Oyasin, hey folks, how you doing? A little debate analysis, I think, is appropriate here, and just a little. Mike Pence and Kamala Harris, or Kamala Harris and Mike Pence, if you prefer, each made strong points yesterday, and they came off at various points quite strong themselves. However, I give the debate to Mike Pence, and please don't think that I am succumbing to confirmation bias. Two things. One of all, I want to remind you of the guy that I am. And second of all, I want to remind you that I've been extremely critical of Donald Trump during the debate. I mean, his debate performance and everything he's done since the debate. He's gone off the rails. I'm saying it again right now. So I'm being clear and level-headed. Mike Pence came off as calm, cool, and collected, even when he was interrupting, even when he went past the 2-minute mark, even when he had that argument with the moderator. Calm, cool, and collected. He had two weak points, and one was the argument with the moderator, but he never really got bullying. He didn't get bullying. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't, he conceded. Donald Trump would have conceded, but he conceded. And I believe he said, all right, go ahead. An apology would have been appropriate. Maybe he did. Maybe I missed that, but that would have been nice. That was, I think, his only weak point, of the performance of the debate itself. The other thing is that he should have smiled. He smirked here and there, but he lacked the smile. By contrast, Kamala Harris smiled all night. And whereas I like that, most of the time her smile came off as insincere. Now, I lived in Poland for 5 years, and I heard thousands of times about the American fake smile. And I have come to observe it, and I have come to realize for the creature that it is. It's real, and Kamala Harris was displaying it all last night. In fact, the American fake grin. So she came off as insincere. And I like somebody who is very emotional. It's obvious that he or she is emotional, but can lay out their arguments very cogently, very logically, and she did that. I admire that. But contrast that with Pence, and she came off the weaker. All there is to it. Now, if last night's Pence had debated last week's Donald Trump would have just been flambéed. Whereas Kamala Harris just came off as the weaker, and definitely insincere. The times that she chided Mike Pence. 2 times she said, I'm speaking now, Mr. Vice President. Okay, fine. But then she also said, when Pence directly challenged her to answer a question, she said, I am answering the question. And she held that stare like a parent who is scolding her child, first with words and then the stare of death. She also criticized him for saying, I will not be lectured by Vice President Pence. And each time for the same issue, her record as an attorney in the state of California. And the bare fact of the matter is a debate is 2 people lecture each other, or 2 teams, depending what the debate is. They lecture each other. They talk about their strong points and the opponent's weak points, which can very well be defined as lecturing. So yeah, Mike Pence did lectured her all throughout the night, all throughout the performance, and she lectured him all throughout the performance. But it was that one topic that she bristled about. So she came off as not wanting to listen, not wanting to dialogue, which is a criticism that is often levied at the Democrats' feet, not willing to listen. And she did that. Now, the last question of the night that was written by the Salt Lake City 8th grade student, well, Mike Pence was fantastic in answering that. He talked to her directly, and he assuaged or tried to assuage her fears about the American populace. He made it clear that the American populace and their innate goodness, their innate spirituality is intact. Whereas Kamala Harris pivoted on her question to make an appeal to vote for Biden. And that came off very badly. She ended the debate on a very poor note. And as far as the issues are concerned, I'm with Pence for most of them. She made some good points, but she says, or first of all, she says vote for Biden. Nobody, no one I've spoken to, nobody I've read thinks that Biden is going to be running the show if his ticket wins. He's not going to be running the show. So let's be sincere right there, shall we? And she says that Biden's not going to raise taxes, but he wants to do all these incredible programs. Well, who's going to pay for them? How will they be paid for? Just by raising taxes on people that make over $400,000 a year? Not with all the programs he's talking about. It's simply impossible. And then she repeated the oft repeated meme that President Trump called neo-Nazis and white supremacists very fine people. And that was disproven years ago. Jake Tapper from CNN and some other journalists actually had the cojones to be able to say, get on national TV, and they no, that's not right. He said in the beginning, when his first speech about this, captured on camera at a press conference, he said, this is bad, but there are very fine people on both sides, but I want to make it clear that white supremacists, neo-Nazis, I condemn them unilaterally. Now, I just read recently where PBS said, well, he said he condemned the supremacists and neo-Nazis 2 days afterwards. No, he condemned the neo-Nazis and the supremacists 2 seconds afterwards. And that's a matter of record. That's absolute fact. Donald Trump has repeatedly condemned neo-Nazis, white supremacy, KKK, whatever. He didn't condemn the Proud Boys. I didn't even know anything about the Proud Boys, really. I've heard their name a few times, so I decided to look them up. And they are absolutely a group that is itching for a fight. I don't know why they should be condemned. They are not white supremacists. They are not neo-Nazis. But I'm going off on a tangent here because you could debate me about that. The thing is that Kamala Harris was repeated things that are not true, that have been disproven, but they are wonderful talking points for the Democrats and the progressives. And when she says that violence should be condemned and she's not for violence, well, she needs to actively address all those parties that are committing violence on the streets. The one that I really can't understand is they're marching into restaurants and overturning tables and saying that there should be no peace. No peace? You can't even sit down and enjoy a meal at a restaurant? So she should address those people directly, but she's not. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are saying these wonderful things from a distance, and it has no power to it. I understand her passion. I understand her want, her desire, her passion for all Americans of all colors, all creeds, all cultures, to be equal and to have equal opportunity and to achieve. I also understand that Donald Trump and Mike Pence want the same thing, but forget about Donald Trump. I understand that Mike Pence wants the same thing, and he communicated that yesterday. Yeah, politicians. Sometimes, often, you have to take what they say with a grain of salt. I am, as I've been made very clear, we should not be dependent upon politicians. We should not be dependent upon strangers, charities, organizations, etc. We should not be, period. Depend upon ourselves, depend upon those people whom we have forged actual relationships with. So the debate is to Michael Pence. That's my analysis. Peace for fingers. And like that student from Salt Lake City wrote, you need to be the example so that we can all get along. See ya.